One of the really early learnings that I took as State Services Commissioner was borrowing the UK's capability review idea that was introduced under the Blair government. And we've used that and improved that in New Zealand to be a key tool that we use to improve the performance of our organisations and understand how they can do a better job in the future. I think one of the most exciting things that we've worked on in New Zealand over the last few years is in the area of social well-being, and in particular how we can use anonymised administrative data, how you can put that together across agencies and create really powerful journeys of citizens over time and across agencies. And that gives, I think, us a fantastic resource about helping us understand what does government look like from a citizen's point of view, and how can we bundle services in a way that helps them. How do we understand about how we can invest in tackling particular areas of harm, which go on to progressively have bigger and more costly forms of harm for the individual or for society later on. And that is, I think, a toolkit that any government can use in its context. And I think it's been one of the most exciting things that certainly come out of New Zealand in the last decade. I think that the leadership has to come from the top, and it has to come from ministers and their interest and engagement about learning from their counterparts overseas. It has to be senior leaders prioritising the development of their own agencies and using the capacity to leverage networks of civil servants across the world, either digitally or maybe in time in person, to learn and improve. Most countries have quite a lot of training for civil servants, and very often there's a focus, understandably, on within country experiences. A lot of those academies or institutions could, I think, be much more proactive about engaging, whether it's academics or practitioners from other jurisdictions, to really enrich the training that civil servants typically receive in the course of their work. The biggest challenge is how collectively we improve citizens' trust and confidence in government. And it has taken a battering in many countries over the last couple of decades. When you look ahead, whether it's climate change, demographic transition, pandemics, national security, all those issues require effective collective action to resolve them. And that's not going to happen successfully unless governments have the trust of their citizens, and civil services have the trust of their citizens to implement what will be quite challenging policy changes. So if we want the consent of people to make those changes, we really have to earn it. Quite a bit of my work at the moment is working with senior teams about how they improve their decision making as an organisation. And one of the books I found really insightful in helping me with that work is a book by a British journalist called David Robson. And he's written a book called The Intelligence Trap, which is subtitled why smart people make dumb mistakes. And it's a really very insightful book about how all of us, and particularly people who probably are smarter than many or more intelligent than many, can really have really poor processes or poor decision-making frameworks. And that, I think, is a lesson that's really applicable to many civil services, and the civil service is fantastic because it can retain a lot of very smart people. But we all need to keep working on realising that our decision-making ways can be improved.